We are live.
Amazing. Welcome to the sprint number 8, closing and debrief. We are going to review our sprint priorities and see where we're at with everything. And potentially also we'll debrief how everything went. And then also if we have extra time, we'll do some pre-planning for our next sprint, which will begin this week. So I would love to start with a little bit of centering, as always, especially as we're coming from one call and kind of shifting gears. So I invite everyone to start to tune inward, however that looks for you. Maybe you want to close your eyes and start to slow your breath down. Inhales through the nose and exhales through the mouth. Just being here in this present moment, aware of the sensations in your body, maybe the sounds and the feelings in the environment around you. And as something to focus our attention on, I have an inspirational quote from George Eliot I would like to share, being that we are activist collaborators. The important work of moving the world forward does not wait to be done by perfect men. George Eliot. So just taking another breath or two into that. The important work of moving the world forward does not wait to be done by perfect men. Maybe start to bring some sensation back into your fingers and toes. Move your head around from side to side, up and down. I invite you to open your eyes and look around your space. Maybe feel your feet on the ground. Just kind of bringing yourself back into your body, back into your space. And when you feel ready, we can connect with one another's eyes and move into check-ins. So just sharing, what your intention is for this call, and if you have any distractions. I can start. My intention is to facilitate an efficient and connecting call for us to sync up on Sprint 8 updates and just kind of be here to observe and see where we're at with everything. And I do not have any distractions. I will pass it to Griff.
I'm distracted by being muted, and I'm always distracted by so many other things that I'm trying to finish. There was a great thread in One Hive's Garden channel talking about Giveth, and I have like a massive long response about 4 different points that we're talking about, and we have so many answers. I'm so excited to talk about the call that we had with Gabby and Gardens and do the download for Willie, and also like and Forrest, and although you were there from the beginning, and just see if we can like do some sense making around decisions around if we want to launch with Gardens, since it seems possible, and how we want to go from there. That's my main intention, and then of course just to figure out what blockers we have, but probably just the download from the Edu and Gabby call. I'll pass it to Lauren.
Hey everyone, Forrest, I love those check-ins. This is great. I get so high power doing a million things, and then I'm like, what? And close my eyes. But then the second I do, just for a minute, it's so valuable. So I really appreciate you. And my intention for the call is, I'm just mostly here to just stay in the loop, keep in sync. I was in that meeting with Gabby and Edu. It was like really interesting. So I'd also just like love to hear Griff's recap and see if like it helps also help me make sense in my brain. And I'm gonna pass it to Willie.
Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, thank you for us. I also those check-ins, so nice. It's like my favorite way to start meeting. Excited to hear about this meeting with Edu and Gabby and about the potential to launch with the gardens. And it'd be awesome. And yeah, just know their intentions other than to celebrate and review sprint number 8. And not feeling distracted, feeling focused. I'll pass to Ashley.
I've got a few distractions. There's like a drill in the background and loud rain, but other than that, I guess my intentions for the call are just to sync up about project verification, see where we're at, what happened in this sprint, and make action items for the upcoming sprint possibly, and see where we need to go next with that. And I think that's really my main personal focus, but I want to hear more about updates and stuff. Go ahead, Lauren.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Go ahead, Lauren.
Oh, no. No, sorry.
Cool. Okay. So thanks for those check-ins. I just have a note here. Earlier today, I kind of reorganized the GIV Token Notion table of contents. So just so you know, some things moved around. I moved all the spec docs. The development section was getting like kind of cluttered. So I moved all the spec docs to important docs, and I retitled development to sprints. So just all of our sprints are there. Pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so let's dig into reviewing our sprint priorities and getting kind of like the latest and greatest update on everything. So as far as the node stuff goes, Ofri and Edu are back. We had our jam session with Edu and Gabby today, where we ran through the Giveth deployment spec doc and kind of aligned between the two of them. I believe in the last few days, Gardens launched on the Rinkeby test net. And then as we discussed in check-in, it's really good for us to talk about our decision. Do we want to launch the Giveth Garden before liquidity mining and use their solution? Or do we want to wait? So I will pass the mic to you, Griff, if you'd like to give a little overview of the Edu and Gabby meeting today for Willie, and I can take some notes.
Sure. Maybe well, I don't know if I should share a screen of the spec deployment or if you want to, but because I want you to be able to take notes too. That's always fun.
Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen then.
I can share my screen. Because it's all in the spec deployment. I think we nailed the notes. But there is definitely some important decisions to talk about. I'm really surprised at how far along OneHive has full force going on right now in garden development. Will, Rodri, Fabi, Common Swarm is coming in too with Fabi and Paulo. I mean, there's like basically 8 devs and Luke. It seems like a very, very high priority for the core team. So they've made major progress. They haven't launched on Rinkeby yet, but they were supposed to last week. I don't know what snags they ran into, but now they're saying this week. That's always how it is. So we can't trust their thoughts. But basically, I went through the document with Gabby and Edu just to sync on all the potentials, and we talked about like how their liquidity farm will work a little bit, but we're pretty much just going to stick with Edu's liquidity mining that works with the vesting. solution. But so we were talking about the challenges of going and deploying our own token versus going with the bring your own token and bringing our own token to Gardens, or deploying Gardens first. And the big thing that is interesting to me is the dynamic issuance that comes with Gardens, where you can have inflation if you need it, or deflation if you're having a lot of success. And I really like that model for issuance. So the goal is to have an inflation, like an issuance rate of 0. But if you are spending a lot of money, then you can get more. And if you're making a lot of money, then some of that money gets burned. And but if we bring our own token, it's hard to have that directly in. So, and since they're ready, the easier solution is probably if we want to do dynamic issuance, then the easy solution would be to have, when we launch, we just mint all the tokens we need for the airdrop and for all of our plans, and then put that in the distributor and have that, and then have the dynamic issuance component. So our main token would just be the governance token.
Hey, Griff, I think you're sharing your wrong screen.
Oh yeah, what am I sharing?
Your texts.
Oh, okay, well, that's cool.
Were you trying to show us other stuff?
Yeah. I was showing the deployment spec. I thought I was. Okay, how about this one?
Yes, now I can see
Looks better.
There we go.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're saying that this week they're ready, and assuming there's no issues, 2 weeks to get to XDAI. If there's issues, a month or whatever, however long it takes it. We need to have a covenant, and that's the only thing blocking us from deploying on Rinkeby. But yeah, and then this is where we talk about the dynamic issuance with a global lockup. But I really think if we mint all the tokens with Gardens and we start with the default Gardens token, everything gets smoother. So that's probably the way to go. What I would say is if we want to go that route, what we do is we start playing with Rinkeby right away. And we get the liquidity mining working on Rinkeby. We get everything working on Rinkeby, and we just launch with givebacks, liquidity mining, and the whole shebang, including Gardens.
Sweet, that's pretty awesome. We were, even when we were shooting for the MVP, all these pieces are kind of coming together, so we really can launch with it all: givebacks, liquidity mining, and the Gardens. And a big airdrop. So cool. That's an amazing update. So it sounds like, yeah, next step, which we were just working on, just getting that covenant done so we can launch this test Gardens and start playing around with it. And then basically we'll have to make sure that are there any changes required to use the Gardens token for liquidity mining and everything, or is it pretty much not really a big difference?
You nailed it. I mean, it's not a huge blocker or anything, but in an ideal world, we're using this really old, crappy mini-me token that Giveth came up with, but it hasn't been. I'm joking, of course, but it's old, and it doesn't. You know how you have that really slick Uniswap experience where you go to add liquidity and you just hit approve, and then you can hit like add liquidity right away. You don't have to wait for the approved transaction.
You just sign the message.
Yeah, you just sign a message, and then it knows, right? So this is called permit. Well, so permit functionality is a little different than that. We could go into it if you want, but that functionality is used to avoid that first transaction. And Edu is like, hey, can we get that in? It's not like a horrible thing on XDAI to not have it, but I am going to lobby with them to upgrade the mini-me token, and I think we're in a unique position to be able to pull that off. to make that argument and get Jordy in on it, and like, yes, let's upgrade this like Solidity version 4 point something to 8 point something and add all the nice things that mini-me tokens should have. So we'll see if that goes through. It's not a lot of work. What it is a lot of fear because it's a token contract. It's very sensitive. I don't know how we would go about doing the audits on it and all these things. So we'll see. That's a big question. And then the other questions that have been answered in the chat is that we can bridge to mainnet. So, and we know how to do it. I haven't looked into it to confirm how much work it is, but at least we know the guy who did it for one hive, and he said that it's repeatable. So we can deploy a Gardens token and bridge it to mainnet. And I think that's pretty much all those are the only two blocking questions that could like stop this from happening or even like slow it down.
Cool. And yeah, I see. We got to make a PR to that repo, the DAO list repo, to get. That's like one final thing we got to do too. Cool.
Yes, and that's the covenant and our token. It's super easy. And actually, I was hoping to just throw that at Mitch/Lauren because it's basically just like, where's your logo? You know, where's the wiki? Super basic links, social links.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'd say you can do it. And like, technically we need a covenant, but it's just for testnet, so we don't necessarily have to go wild, We
Yeah.
don't have to be done.
I think we'll have a pretty fine. I can get something done by like tomorrow.
Cool.
Awesome. And then we got to get givebacks done.
Yeah. Project verification.
Project verification.
Technically, we could launch without givebacks done if we had a Gardens and an airdrop. But it's one of these things where it's like, okay, what is really a blocker? And it's like, well, the big blocker is we have to have a reason, for a token. Like we have to have some meat, otherwise we can't launch. The givebacks can be the story, and that's okay to be part of the story. With Gardens and liquidity mining, that would be enough to launch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think givebacks are cool. It'd be nice to launch with givebacks if we can get them ready. But if it comes down to it, it's not. Givebacks aren't necessarily a requirement. If we have the Gardens now, that's another good reason.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on the project verification front, I know that they've added a field in the database for true or false, verified or rejected. And Marco has designed a badge for the projects at this point. So that's pretty much ready to go whenever it's ready to go. The one thing is that James was saying at this point right now, somebody has to manually go in and change it to verified or unverified. So, I mean, for now, as we're just doing small amounts of projects, that's fine, but maybe we look for a more automated solution in the future. And maybe one thing I was wondering is maybe we have like 3 main reasons why projects might be rejected. So maybe it's not just a true or false field. Maybe we try to make it a bit more dynamic for email purposes so that we can tell projects why they were rejected, they can rectify that, and then reapply.
Yeah, we'll definitely need a rejection email.
Forrest has them drafted up, so they're like ready to go whenever we're ready to send them. And we've kind of created some dialogue around like little messages that would come up to describe what givebacks are, or like geared at a project and geared at a donor, and then maybe like a little box that comes up when they go to apply of what it might say or something. We've created at least a skeleton frame of what that might look like.
Cool. And I think we've talked about this a bit. I think for MVP, it'd be fine if we had one blanket rejection email that had all the reasons that you could get rejected in one email. If there's any complication to getting making it more than a Boolean.
And then we just ask them to this is what we do with the trusted seed. Exactly that. We have a blanket email and the action item. If you feel like this is an error, please apply again and, do a better job.
Yeah, and then list some of the main reasons why they make. Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely, at least to start out.
It's like, oh, your Giveth, thing that might not have a picture. It might be incomplete. It's a nice, easy one. That, oh yeah, I didn't add a picture to my Giveth project,
Totally. Ashley, do you know where they are with where the dev team is with the 3-box?
I don't know. I think that the next Giveth.io migration has kind of taken priority for them. I don't know. Maybe Lauren knows if they've gotten any further on it.
Everything you're saying is right. Mostly it's just been Mateo fixing all the bugs so that we can get live building with Next. So that's been the focus, and yeah, he's been a lot on his own. So
cool. And I know he was hopeful that maybe today or tomorrow he'd be able to push the new Giveth out. So maybe this next sprint we can work on the 3-box stuff.
Yeah, I think things are pretty much working with the next main Next, and we were testing it today, so I think yes.
Cool. Other than that, is there anything else we need to do for givebacks? Are those the 2 big blockers?
I think just continuing the project verification game is the big thing, and then we have access to the data to calculate it. We should probably, when we get it on Rinkeby, we would want to just test the distributions and make sure that we have a system that works,
Yeah, the test it on Rinkeby, actually doing the distribution.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if do we have Giveth deployed to Rinkeby? Is there a UI that works on Rinkeby?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, staging.
Nice. I wasn't sure Robston or where it is, but if it's all on Rinkeby, then we should be able to just deploy everything to Rinkeby and connect it all together.
I think it's on Robston. It's on Robston.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
it is on Robston.
It's not on Rinkeby.
You're right. It's Robston for staging. But could we deploy to Robston, or could we just change that maybe with the config?
It shouldn't be hard since there's no smart contracts that you deploy. We're literally just sending money to addresses, right? So I don't know how the graph works. That might be complicated. But as long as they have all the infrastructure on the graph on Rinkeby, which I would have to imagine they do. Yeah, they do, for sure. Because OneHive wouldn't be using Rinkeby for their deployments otherwise. So, yeah, we just have to move that to, it would be really nice to have everything on Rinkeby, and we could just do crazy user testing on Rinkeby and get everything looking good for launch.
That's a good question for the dev team is, could we deploy staging when at Rinkeby? They should be able to.
Okay, cool. So sounds like we kind of skipped we made the decision around launching on Giveth Gardens. So our only blocker that I'm aware of there is getting the covenant completed, which we kind of began talking about on our last call, and sounds like we can relatively easily copy a lot of what OneHive's covenant is and just adapt it to our own, so that shouldn't block us for long. And then it sounds like
we're using their built-in liquidity mining solution, though, right? Okay.
No. It would be harder than just going with DAppNode and getting it tested. Also, DAppNode has a UI that is just for that token, and honestly, I kind of like the idea of just being able to control our liquidity mining UI from an optics perspective. It's not about, it's like providing this Giveth wallet that has it has all the features that we need, and it's made specifically for this. Whereas the XDAI version, it wouldn't, it's missing a lot of cool things. And we would have to do a lot of work to make it work with the vesting contract, the global lockup.
Cool.
Also, I see. I just want to put a quick. I don't know how long, but I know Bowen's headed to the airport, but it's here. I don't know if he has any updates on the airdrop, finalizing the airdrop spreadsheet.
I can try. How's it going, guys? I'm in the car, and this is my first experiment trying to do this mobile. We're on our way to SeaTac to fly out to go to Portland. So Griff spent like an hour and a half with me the other day, going over the last bits of unknown, questionable things in the sheet. So it's like 99.5% done right now. I need to split off a few things and rename a couple of things, and then we can spit out, as soon as I've given the criteria, we can spit out the JSON file for the Merkle drop. So like all of the work except the last 5 things I need to do, which should take about like maybe an hour or two, everything is done. So we've gotten to the end of that side of the project. We can totally see it from here. So that's where that's at. If anybody's got any questions about it or whatever, feel free. But I've been listening along to what you guys were talking about, and it's making me very excited.
No, just finishing that spreadsheet. If there's anything you need.
Awesome, Bowen. Thank you.
As far as I know, you gave me all of the info that I needed when we went over it. After I get down to Portland, I can open it back up and just double check that I know. But I'm like nearly 100% certain that I know everything that needs to be done now. So
sweet, and then
we're good.
Do we just validate this with do we have to do a vote or something in the DAO? I think
that part I don't know.
We did one. I'm not sure if there's been material changes since then, but there probably have been some small changes. So, yeah, can't hurt to run it through one final verification. I'm sure there's no final changes.
Yeah, we might just want to have like even a small, just like, oh, hey, final changes, final chance airdrop party. Like here's the final data. Does it make sense? And then be cool.
I'm cool with that. Which DAO are you talking about?
The RGIV DAO.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. I just didn't know when Bowen was going to have to run away from the airport, so I wanted to make sure we cover that.
No, that's great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad I could let you know, because it's been like really dicey like the last week because we've been running around a lot. But yeah, I'm super glad that I got to spend that time with you because I made it go so much faster.
Thanks, Bowen. Thanks, Griff.
And Bowen, do you have any idea? Yay. I was messaging with Hannah. She wasn't able to join our last sprint call, and I'm curious if you have any idea, since you were hacking with her sometimes, if she's completed that master spreadsheet, like where we're at with that piece.
That's what I've been working on. She spit out the data for me. We went over it, and that is what the final totals page is. I think that's what it's called. Let me double check. It's called, yeah, final totals. And that has all but like the last 5 pieces of corrected information. So that's like the final airdrop numbers. What are you looking for?
What's going on?
Oh, okay.
I know I need your help.
Hold on.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that update around airdrop. Awesome. And then the only other thing around airdrop is the comms messaging, which we are in progress working on. So yeah, looks like we're closing out all those blockers. Badass. I'm gonna scroll back up. What we haven't talked about yet are the hiring developers section. So our ongoing hiring process for the Solidity developer role. Griff, are there any, or Ashley, are there any updates that you guys would like to share on this piece? Specifically the Solidity developer role.
I haven't had a chance to do my job that Ashley needs me to do, which is review all the resumes. There are some that are like on the lines. I'm like, I don't know if I want to interview this person. I have to read more. So, but that will hopefully happen tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, and then once I get that, I plan to send out the next round of communication about interviews and touch base with, just do a communication session with all the dev stuff.
We have one guy who's, so we ended up, Edu didn't get a good vibe from the first guy that I thought was good enough, but I also had these weird vibes too. So we're going to reject him in the end. And then we had a great interview. Thank you for setting that up, Ashley, with another guy who's going through the interview stages. So that's good. He has an interview with Amin tomorrow, I think, for a second interview. And then now it's just the rest of these guys. There's a few people that I know or one guy that I know, Bradley, but he apparently hasn't responded. So maybe I'll reach out to him and see if I can just schedule one on my own, because I went to Africa Burn with him, so I can just reach out. But yeah, we'll see. And then Ashley, do you have anything to add?
Nope, that covers it from my end.
The next one is we need more devs for Giveth.io. Mateo said he knows a guy.
The guy that was the last guy in the spreadsheet that you said is a good candidate for Giveth, but not for this task. He also has experience with like GraphQL and Node.js and like that kind of stuff that it seems like we need the support for Giveth. Do you think he would be a good person to reach out for that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
There's a few people on that applied for the lead role of Solidity dev. That's just like, like you seem like a great guy, but we want someone who has launched a project before. Let's ask for what we want and get it. But we don't need that for Giveth.io. So I would still like to maybe get if Mateo knows someone, then sure, let's check him out. I would like to get a job description together and put it out there a little bit more personally than just like hiring people who apply to be a lead Solidity developer. And now it's like, oh yeah, actually no, but can you do the stuff that's not Solidity? And then have them just want to do Solidity the whole time. I don't know about that,
Right.
Totally. I just posted a link in the chat, and also it's here in the second bullet under hiring developers. It's a Notion job for now. We'll also put it on crypto job lists, since that was like the most successful thing last time. And it allows us to put the qualifying questions in. But if anyone has any great like backend developer bullets that you'd like to see included, please add it into the Notion doc or in comments here in our. Thanks, Bowen.
Love you, Dune.
Are you guys hearing me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I think maybe my connection is back now. Okay, cool. So if there aren't any other things off the top of heads that want to be added to the backend developer role, you can always take a look at that after the call and ping me if there's something you'd like to see added. Under organizational documents, things that we completed in this sprint are the deployment spec and updating the givebacks MVP spec. And then I am in progress on the roadmap. I think probably tomorrow I'll have that done, and I'll send it out to the group and schedule a hack session for us to review and add all the things. We already talked through givebacks, but one question I have is anyone aware where the devs are at with the 3-box integration?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. They've just been prioritizing like moving to Next.js. So maybe we can probably say that in the next sprint that could probably take first on the list of priorities.
Okay, thanks, Ashley. And then, yeah, we are in progress on the communications messaging, so that's moving along nicely. One thing I'm curious about as far as design goes, I know that Marco is working on the verified project badge, especially once we have the brand books updates implemented. But in the past, when we've talked about givebacks design, we've said we want the verified project badge, and we've said we want other UI mentioned in the MVP spec. And as I've gone through and reviewed that, there weren't like other clear areas of specific design requests. So I just wanted to flag that here, and maybe we can discuss if there are other design needs that we have from Marco, just to make sure he's really clear on it, and then we can get that outlined in the next sprint.
Cool. I'm glad you're mentioning this because yeah, I think there's other UI stuff, but we should be clear about it. So we have sounds like all we have right now is like the verified project badge. We would need any UI around the givebacks or around the 3-box verification flow. Basically, whatever is needed there for a project to actually go through the process of verifying with 3-box, which 3-box will hopefully handle a lot of that, but we need, and we have a place where it can fit into with a project updating their profile, but we need to kind of tie that in there. So there's a button that project can click to like verify their Twitter or verify with 3-box. And then once the project's verified, they should, in addition to that, like verified for givebacks program flow, there should be, you know, some sort of badge for like email, Twitter, or GitHub, whatever they've verified with. And that'll be useful even for projects that aren't necessarily part of the givebacks program, but verify their Twitter profile so that people can see it's a verified project. And then I can pull up the spec, but in addition to just the badge that a project is verified, there needs to be something to communicate to the donor that if they donate to a project, like they're going to be getting some GIV tokens back. And I think we have that in the spec, but let me see if I can. I'll pull it up right now and check. So you've got the whole process of like a project applying for givebacks is all handled basically with email in this type form. So that's cool. We don't really need any UI for that.
But from the giver side, I think we would probably need something just like a little blurb telling them that what givebacks are and that they're going to get them. We kind of created in this Notion document like some dialogue. It's down at the very bottom. Here, let me put it in the chat. Where did you go?
Yeah, it sounds like we were going to, with that badge that Mark already has designed, we're going to put a tooltip on it. So if the user hovers over that badge, they basically see the details about givebacks and that they'll be getting GIV tokens if they donate to that project. So I think something we have right here that as a giver, I can see at the time of donations that I will get some GIV tokens for the donations. So on the donate page for projects that are eligible, basically some blurb, some extra note, and I can copy the copy that we have over here. But it could just be as simple as this message right here.
Well, and with the dashboard, will that also show like how many, will it be personal for each giver? Like they could go into their account and see like how many GIV tokens they have, how many are locked, what percentage will be released when? Is that part of the dashboard?
That will be, there's going to be a dashboard for the vesting contract where anything that's like part of the global lockup, users will be able to see how much is locked up, how much is available to claim and claim from there. And then after the end of the 2-week period, when we go actually reward the givebacks, that's the first time that the user will actually be able to see how many GIV tokens they're getting is at the very end of the period. And then they can claim whatever's unlocked. But other than that, there's not going to be extra UI that shows the user anything about the give back. Basically, the first time they'll see it is once we actually go and reward it at the end of the period. And it'll be with
So at the time of donation, they won't know how many tokens they're getting.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, what you were talking about, Ashley, DAppNode has a really nice little dashboard for knowing where your tokens are in various places, and just showing like one number. You have this many GIV tokens. Forget about how many are claimable, how many tokens are staking in a pool or whatever. It's all just taken. It's like one number, and then an expanded view. But it has nothing to do with givebacks, really.
And so are we creating a dashboard like that, or we're not? We're just going to have the one number that's displayed.
Marco doesn't have to worry about the UI. He already worked on it with DAppNode.
Okay. Cool. Okay, cool. Is there any other UI or like design needs from Marco that we can get clearer on for him?
I just copied over what we had in the spec for that note on the donate page. Maybe it's in the copy still needs to be fleshed out, but yeah, it could be as simple as just some copy that links to like the full Givebacks blog post. Yeah, I think that covers it. I think if we get those UI pieces, then we will be covered. And it'll be pretty clear to users. And then yeah, actually, hopefully, maybe we will be able to actually like show an estimate one day. It's something we like would never want to do that. It's just for the MVP. There's not like an easy way to do it, and so we've felt it wasn't necessarily required for the MVP. But if we get a lot of users who are like, "Hey, I want to know how much GIV token I'm going to get back," that'll be good feedback, and then we can go improve that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, awesome. I feel like I have more info to share with him, so that's cool. Okay, I'm just going to review through our sprint priorities. We went through DAppNode, we talked about our hiring processes, we talked about the organizational documents, our givebacks program, design from Marco, and airdrop. Cool. Okay, so with our last like 8 minutes, maybe we can use this time to debrief on the sprint. Just an open discussion around what went well. We can kind of popcorn share, whoever feels called, what went well in this sprint, major learnings that occurred, if there's something that we want to do differently or propose doing differently for this next sprint number 9. And yeah, just anything else that you would like to share about how the last 2 weeks went for this sprint number 8. And I'll capture some notes.
Okay, I can start. I thought it was a good sprint. I think we got a lot of things done, but it feels a little chaotic, It's like it's hard to understand. Like, I'm so glad that we're meeting so often. In some sprints, it feels like, oh, this is way too much. We know exactly what we're doing. In some sprints, feels like, oh, what we're doing is changing every 3 hours. So like, I'm so glad that we can talk about it today, because there were updates. So I feel like sometimes we're having too many calls, and then it's fine because then we just turn into a hack session, and it's still good that we're all coming together. But then other times, man, I'm glad we have these calls because like all of this, it's so nice to be able to come from, we had our governance meetings, which I couldn't go to. I'm sorry about that. But then I had this call with Edu, and now we have this debrief, and it's all done today. So much got done today. So it's really nice. I think it was a good sprint, and I would love to see some of this tracked on GitHub a little better sometimes, but I don't know. It's fine. That's something that I like the idea of, but in practice, I haven't seen it have like major impact. And with that, I'll pass it to Billy.
Cool. Well said. I think I agree with a lot of that. But overall, I think it was a great sprint we've done, and there's not a lot that I would necessarily do differently. I think we're moving in the right direction and knocking out these action items and getting close. I mean, it's pretty exciting to see. I'm glad that this sprint we got Edu and GIV together, and that the deployment spec was also really beneficial. So I think props to Forrest for the work that went into that. It was really helpful to go through that with Edu, and it sounds like it was really helpful for Edu and GIV to go through that together, just to make sure that, fortunately we didn't uncover a lot of unknowns or missing things. It seems like we have a pretty clear plan, and fortunately, the gardens will be able to test that soon and actually start testing the vesting contract and the gardens together. And now it's really looking like it's on us just to get givebacks done, which will be icing on the cake if we can have that all ready to go. I'll pass to Ashley.
I think the sprint went really well, and it's super interesting to watch like all these pieces of the token economy that were once so separate they're such separate topics, now are starting to come together and form the cogs of the machine that it will be eventually. And as far as things we could do better or differently, I'm not really sure of anything that we could have done differently. Everything kind of is like a little bit at a time. We take the steps that we can, and we're all kind of like in the same stride, it seems like right now, and that's nice. I'll pass it off to Lauren.
Hey everyone. Yeah, I feel excited and nervous. Like it's like I feel like all these pieces are coming together now that we're doing gardens. We're doing like everything at the same time. It feels huge. So I think the last sprint went really well. I'm really also excited that you guys packed so much on that spec because that's like super beneficial, and I feel it's like really, I feel like this is like going to be so much easier to just like translate into a piece that's like an airdrop announcement because like all of the data is there, and so it's just like one easy place to look at it and translate it from. So I'm excited about that. And I think like, I mean, yeah, if I could just like, you know, make a wish, I would just like really wish that we could hire the Solidity dev and hire a backend developer. Like that would make the next sprint way easier, you know? I was just chatting with Matteo in this call, just being like, hey, how's 3box going and all this stuff. And, you know, I just feel for the guy. He's just one man. He's not a machine. He's like on Thursday I can put staging on Rinkeby. And he's like, oh, also I have to do the research on the 3box, but don't worry, it's easy. Oh, also I have to move. And then anyway, I'm like, can we just get another dev? And those are my thoughts. Yeah, I love my people, and I'll pass it to Tommy.
I was impressed by the productivity of today. I don't really have anything I would do differently. I feel like I'm just kind of watching and seeing where everything's at, and it seems like everything's come quite a bit. So that is exciting. I'll keep an ear out in metagame for any devs.
Yeah, if you could pass out our crypto jobs list. I don't know if you have that link, but I'm sure that there are very aligned on metagame that would love to be part of this.
Yeah, there's a gig board. Where's that link at?
I'll pass it to you right now. Oh, actually, I already did it.
Bam.
Yeah.
I think Ashley might have already posted it in the gigs board too.
Yeah, I think I did. A while back, though. It wouldn't hurt to come from another person and maybe a little bit of like refresher.
Okay.
We're going to put the backend developer one on the docs as well, right? Or are we going to put it on crypto jobs listing? Both?
Yeah, I think we'll put it on crypto job list again. And that will be like the primary place that we point people for applying, because we can have those qualifying questions in the application. But I think we can also post a link to that on our docs, in the hire section.
Okay, awesome. Cool. Let me know as soon as that's done, and then I can start tweeting about it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm just waiting for, just a little bit of review or feedback, and then I think probably sometime tomorrow it'll be ready to go.
Yeah, we really need Mateo. I mean, it sucks, but Mateo needs to read it, and I already made some comments. It'd be really nice for James and Mateo to read it. James will read it. He knows it.
Mateo said it's good. Just add basic tech stack.
Basic what?
Basic tech stack.
Okay, so then we need James to review it. It would be nice to throw out more specifics about what that tech stack is. I assume we're using React.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think James can help us pimp it out, but we definitely need dev input.
For sure. Things to do right now, but when he wakes up, I'm sure he'll take a look. And cool. The major thing that I heard in our a debrief, at least that I can help support with more in the next sprint, is the tracking more in GitHub. Last week I went through and was like cleaning up GitHub and translating everything, but I can definitely make sure to be more on top of that. Translating things between Notion and GitHub. So I am taking that to do. Are there any other things or anything that's alive around what went well, major learnings, or something we'd like to see differently in the way we're maybe facilitating these meetings or tracking things?
I think you're doing a great job. And yeah, thanks for taking the action item to try and do more in GitHub. That can only help. The more we can do in there, the better. But yeah, no, no feedback. I think you're doing a great job. Thanks, Forrest.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I don't think that we're a little bit over time, so we will just do our actual sprint pre-planning as scheduled. I believe it's either tomorrow evening. But if anyone's not able to join the call tomorrow and you have some ideas of what you'd like to see prioritized for the next sprint, you can always ping me on Discord or post in the tokenomics channel, and I'll be sure to get that added. Cool. Are there any closing thoughts before we close our Sprint 8?
I'm excited for this clarity with Gardens. It's my closing thought, and just deploying everything on Rinkeby and making it all work. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. Go team.
Go team. I'm excited too.
Quadruple excited.
I'm excited too.
I love it. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, everyone, for your participation. I'm excited that Griff is going to be here in a few days in the flesh. That's super cool. I hope that everyone... Oh, go ahead.
Have a
I
good
was
night.
just going to say, I hope we actually get to see him and he's not glued to the computer the whole time.
Totally.
I'll just come and hang out with you at the house while you're glued to the computer, I guess. We'll just have work party at Lauren's house.
That's the fun. Yeah. Good night. Yeah. Fruit. Lots of.
I could do that while I'm there, but I won't make any promises after I leave. All right. Love you guys. Have a good night.
Love you guys.
That's what.